Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Better, a show about two longtime friends trying their best, growing up, and hopefully getting better. I'm Zach Johnson.
And I'm Jack Johnson. Nope.
Oh, man.
I'm Sam Cherry.
Okay, yeah, next time. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize that that was a thing we could do.
Not fair.
That's good. That's prime time. Get better. That right there. That little thing I did.
Yeah.
That is prime time.
Right,
How are you doing?
I didn't understand if you were doing a bit or you were upset with me, but either way, I'd like to move forward.
I was just so surprised. It's been a very long time since I've been called Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
So
it's the first time I've ever called you Jack Johnson.
Oh, okay. It's usually like, I don't know what it is. I think that people don't want to call me Jack Johnson because they feel like I've heard it a lot. And so they call me Jack Johnson because they feel like I've never heard it. Well, but I feel like most everyone in my life has called me Jack Johnson at some point.
Yeah, it seems like a real natural. It's just a joke. I mean, you are asking for it a little bit. Your DJ name. Well, your DJ name was DJ ZJ, so it sort of just is in everyone's mind. The whole switching the letters thing.
Yeah. That's true. Wait, there's no letters. Well, there's no letter switching in DJ ZJ. I mean, I'm not DJ Jay-Z.
I know, but just saying, you know what I mean. DJ ZJ.
I guess you're...
Jack Johnson.
I'm still ZJing weddings, by the way.
Are you?
I don't know if you knew about that.
For free.
For free.
This is not a solicitation of service.
For the love of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, one time you showed me, we were at a wedding that you were ZJing, and it was like, you showed me your document of like, here's how to do a wedding. And I can't remember do you send that to other people or do you give that to like the bride and groom and you're like, here's what I'm going to do.
I send it to other people when they ask how to DJ a wedding. I'm just like, all right, well, here's a couple things I've learned from the game.
Right.
The most important thing that you learn from the game, I'll just go ahead and tell the listeners just in case I'm going to pull out my notes and I'm going to tell you all my formula for how to be a DJ at a wedding. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Well, while you do that, I'll just remind you about at my wedding when we started doing it then, and we're getting ready. We got the cake, blah, blah, blah. And then the DJ was like, all right, now we're going to play the shoe game. And there was this distinct memory where I was like, I feel like I said we shouldn't do this, but I guess we're here now. And the shoe game is when he will say something really embarrassing. So the couple is back to back and they're sitting in chairs. And we take off our shoes, and so I'm holding one of my shoes, and I'm holding one of her shoes, and he'll say, it's like, who farts more? And then you have to lift up the shoe of the person you think does that. So if I think she farts more because I'm a fool, I would hold up her shoe in front of her whole family and my whole family and our friend. But also it was, which seemed strange. I guess we never like talked to him about it, and I don't know why we would, but there was a lot of sex jokes, and that seemed like a weird, who's not even sex jokes. A lot of you all sleep together jokes.
Yeah. Like you both already live together jokes.
Yeah, like who's grumpier in the morning, and it was like, we don't live together.
Hell if I know.
I'd love to talk about this in front of my deeply religious family.
Who is grumpier in the morning?
It's me. But we've been married for 2 years, so now I'm aware. And anyway, we did that, and it was my hell. Because I just had to take
the more I looked at you, the more you were becoming like a middle-aged dad who would just sit in his sofa just with a scotch.
Yeah.
Like I kept looking at you, and the years were piling onto your face.
You could see my youth literally dying in front of you. And then that ended. And then he was like, okay, now we're going to do the avalanche dance. And this is something that I do remember signing on to, so this one's on me. But it was like, okay, you have the whole wedding party, including DJ ZJ, and you're all going to be, and you're dancing. And again, everyone is watching the 10 of you dance. And it's like, cool, this is hell. And then it was like, okay, now you have to go run out in the crowd and I'll keep this part short because it's really not that bad. we go run out in the crowd and find somebody, and then you then you dance with them, and then there's 20 of you. And then the 20 of you, you go find a new date, and an avalanche, you bring everybody on. Mm-hmm. Fine. It was medium level embarrassing because the beginning, they start with slow songs for reasons that I don't understand. And then it eventually builds to fast songs as more people get on there. So it's like, okay, whatever, medium level embarrassing. It's not that shoe game that was the death of me. Cool, we're good. And I remember walking up to frequent guest on the show, Andrew, and saying, oh my God, that shoe game was my hell. And as I'm saying that, the DJ goes, everybody, oh shit, I'm going to fuck this whole joke up. What's it called?
I don't know.
The line, what's it called? Oh yeah. Everybody, let's do the Congo. And then he is like, come on. And we all get in a big Congo line, and it was the worst. I guess it's not that bad now that I say it. I know, well, it was very embarrassing at the time, and I wasn't like upset. Like, it was fine. It was my wedding. What am I going to fucking complain? But it was boy, I don't love being the center of attention. This is a lot.
Yeah, and I think, so I may have said this on the show before if we talked about the wedding, but my main goal or my main mission, like only job. My only job at the wedding was to make sure that no dance circles happened.
We did cover this in the episode, The Boys Learn to Dance.
Oh, good. But I just wanted to briefly preface that by saying I kind of failed you because a conga line is the most ultimate form of like a dance circle.
Yeah, well... Like, I think to really have the horrifying effects of a dance circle, it would have to be like a 6-person conga line. Where like people keep trying to start a conga line, but nobody's doing it. And so everyone's just sort of standing, watching people like really desperately try to do a conga line.
Conga line, yeah. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to stop that because I wasn't ZJing that wedding. But if I had been, so I have just pulled up and this is real. I have a real.
Oh, I've seen it with my eyes.
It's called DJ ZJ's Airtight Wedding Playlist Formula. And so if in the case that you're ever doing a wedding or you ever need to make a playlist for a wedding, this is my list. It goes on a 5-song cycle. So number 1 is a modern day banger, like a modern day big song that gets everyone on the dance floor.
A Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
A Savage,
But yeah, so I will say that, but it has to be so prominent in the culture that even some of the older people, not like the older crowd, but some of the middle-aged people will have heard it. So it gets every single person. This is like the hit the like fire alarm. I guess never mind. This is like a I guess like in case of emergency, break glass. Like get everyone on the dance floor case it's
okay. Now is this your Taylor Swift song? Because that is always my emergency break the glass song.
I will say that for whatever it is, I have 2 artists or 3 artists rather that always fit this bill. One is Bruno Mars.
Oh yeah,
if you can pick any of Bruno Mars's top songs, it gets everyone on the floor.
Honestly, Versace on the floor, it's still gonna work.
Exactly, because everyone knows Bruno Mars's entire discography.
Like I love this song.
Exactly, I can play a B-side off of Unorthodox Jukebox, and people will still get on the dance floor.
Caroline, we're gonna fucking be there.
Yeah. 2 is Drake. I don't know exactly what the magic behind that is, but if you play one of the big Drake club mixes, like people go wild for it. They're always there.
Back to back, for example.
No,
the song back to back.
Yeah. No. But I'm saying actually his diss track to Pusha T, that one actually gets people really going.
I think we're talking about the same song, but let's move on.
No, Back to Back is his diss track to
Meek Mill. You're right.
Meek Mill. You're right.
My apologies.
Yeah. So, and the third one is Beyonce. Those 3 are like they're my holy trinity of getting people onto the dance floor. I think if you like, I usually start a wedding with playing Uptown Funk or 24 Karat Magic because people just instinctively go for it. Or Love on Top by Beyonce. That one, those 2 always do it.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit through this series so that it, because this is a service to our listeners.
Yeah.
And maybe they've got a wedding in like a fucking hour, and their cool friend from California or maybe Ireland. We have a lot of friends we have friends. We have a lot of listeners from Ireland now.
We have friends.
So anyway, maybe they're Irish, maybe they're from California, and they're like, hey, I got a wedding. I don't know what to do. And their cool friend who listens to our show is like, listen to this episode right now.
Oh, bless you for not doing an accent.
No, God, no. And so they do that. And so now, so maybe they're listening to it next Wednesday. And what would they play? I mean, you got their opener, but I'm going to press you on these as we go. I think Uptown Funk is still a solid opener for 2020. I think we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and so I'm going to press you on these.
Like, I usually, like, the first one, I always usually, like, go for Bruno Mars. Because, like,
but he hasn't had a lot of hits recently.
I don't care. Like 24 Karat Magic still gets it done. Still gets the job done.
Yeah.
And you kind of also, I've done weddings in like kind of country settings. And so for that, you kind of have to adjust the game. And I don't know a lot of country music. But that, I'll tell you what, and this, I'll get into this in just a moment. For the second one, which is a slightly modern banger. And this is a song that is about 5 or 6 years old. The thing I've written here is, this is a song that is a couple of years out of date and has just fallen out of being way too overplayed.
Okay.
This song could be a welcome reminder of a world. Oh, shoot. I broke the rule.
That's true. But also it's getting a little outdated because I don't know if a recent just fell out of fashion song would even apply in that. Also, just a quick sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't talk about it before we ran the intro. You're recording, right?
Yeah.
Wicked. We just usually say it to each other. Like, I'm recording, and then you're like, yeah, I'm recording, and we didn't because we just got into it, and I really wanted to make sure that we're actually getting all of it.
Yeah. No, because I usually, we do the, this is, I just to get everyone onto our Patreon, if you do subscribe to our Patreon that doesn't exist, you get the leftover bonus feature, which is Sam and I talking before the episode because he has to warm up his mic so it doesn't make pop noises.
Which I didn't do very well last episode because I got real close to the mic for some reason. Oops, my bad.
Whoopsie. Oh well, Patreon exclusive. So anyway, the song, the press on this one, I would say is I usually play, and this one is actually a bit overplayed at weddings, but "Can't Stop the Feeling" by Justin Timberlake off the Trolls soundtrack.
The Trolls song. I was, when you said Bruno Mars, I thought, or you said 24 Karat, and I was like, or that Troll song with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. Usually, and also you could play like a 22 by Taylor Swift or something, or the
other one, the one where she does all the dancing.
Yes, that one where she does all the dancing.
Shake It Off.
Yeah, exactly. And I usually go for one of those. I usually go for like a Taylor Swift, a Lady Gaga, a Katy Perry in these moments. They're also very helpful. So 3, and this one is very important. I thought it wasn't important until I put this list together, but is a late 90s, early 2000s song.
Because of course this is written for all the weddings that you would DJ, which are all of our friends who were born in the early 90s.
But I'll say this every time that I do one, if I play Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or Britney Spears, the place goes wild.
Sure.
Every single time.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a good thing to have in case, like, you're putting together your list. So you got like your big songs, your slightly out of date big songs, and then your nostalgia songs. Like every single person does that stupid bye bye dance for NSYNC. Exactly. You play that. This keeps the momentum of people on the dance floor, and you want to have people on the dance floor for like 3 or so songs at a time.
Yeah.
That's very important. And then the fourth one, which is, so we got 1, 2, 3. The fourth is an older song. So
like Camptown Races? What do you mean?
Like Camptown Races. Like My Old Kentucky Home by Stephen Foster. No, this is a song for like the older audience. Like, so you're going to play like Temptations, or you're going to play What I Like About You, or good. Just like, I usually go for like 70s funk songs because I feel like they just exist at weddings.
Yeah.
Like you play a Stevie Wonder, you play Earth, Wind and Fire, you play probably like Flashlight by Parliament. Like that just exists there.
Well, I was going to say, of course, the big one, and this is what we ended my wedding on, September.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, It's required.
It's a requirement. Yeah. Exactly.
My brother got married on the 21st night in September, and they didn't play that song.
Dude, dude?
Do you remember the 21st night in September? And he didn't do it. I even brought it up to. He texted me, and he was, because he had whatever. We're brothers, and I was like, oh, what's the date of the wedding? And he was like September 21st. I was like, oh, like the song, and he never responded. He just, I can't believe you didn't capitalize on that opportunity. It's the 21st night in September.
And it's weird because I'll get into it in just a moment, but I think that's actually one of the songs that if you don't play at a wedding, you're liable to get arrested.
It's bad luck.
Or at least a fine.
It's definitely a crime.
And the fifth one is a group dance song. And this is the one. These are the ones that I hate to play, but you have to play them.
I did ban them from my wedding. I explicitly said to the DJ,
yes, and I love that. In fact, more recent weddings I've gone to have not had them, and it's been amazing.
Yeah,
I feel like they really had their high point when we were coming out of like college. They were like the mid to late 2010s. They were crushing it. Like you had to play the cha-cha slide. Yeah. You had to play the wobble for some godforsaken reason.
It's like an 80-minute song. It's the worst song.
It is. It's awful. And then there's the Cupid Shuffle. You got to play them. I've been to some that did the cha-cha slide, not the cha-cha slide, the electric slide. I'm just like, who knows it? Who in here knows the electric slide?
Like you might as well do the hustle. Like what are we talking about? I think the Cupid Shuffle is the good one, but I still never want to do it. If I'm at someone else's wedding, I'm not going to be mad that the Cupid Shuffle comes on, but the WAP and the Wobble are crimes. They're as bad at playing those songs is as bad as not playing September by Earth, Wind & Fire. It's it's a crime of a song.
That's really funny because you said the WAP, and if I do hear that, I'm kind of like, what the? Like, that is, like, why is the WAP playing right now?
It's the Wobble's uglier cousin.
And
they're both bad.
Mm-hmm. So that's my list. You just take those 5 ideas, those 5 songs, and you just throw them into the wash cycle. Just put those things on spin. Every once in a while during the nostalgia part, I'll put like a really old, like slow song.
Sure. For the grandparents.
For the grandparents, and also for like, the couples that just like, there's not a lot of, I'm not going to play, an Ed Sheeran song for the slow song.
Yeah.
You got to go back. You got to go for the classics.
Sure.
And, then you have to mark it in for those, like there's like a cake song, and then you got to have possibly.
But they tell you those.
Yeah. So those usually, I mean, sometimes, I have usually have to pick those. I said this a moment ago, and I stand by this. There are a couple songs that you have to play at a wedding, or you could go to go to jail.
Literal crimes.
Yeah. So here we go. I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston.
Of course.
Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
Sure. Modern classic.
Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars.
Yep.
Love on Top, Beyonce.
Yep.
Forever, Chris Brown. Cupid Shuffle. And finally, September by Earth, Wind & Fire.
Of course. Is that on your list? Is that literally written in there? You have to play all these songs?
It's on the list.
That's a service. You could print that off in a PDF and sell it for $20.
Exactly.
That could be your new shit. That's your new deal.
That's my new hustle. No, there's more songs I need to put on this list, but those, like, if I don't hear I Want to Dance with Somebody, it is strange.
Crazy.
Like there are some times that I've made the playlist for people, or we've made them together collaboratively, and I'll just go ahead and put these songs on them.
Right.
And they're never like, "Ooh, what the?" Like, no, I'm not gonna have that. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, of course." Like, I'm getting married, aren't I?
Yeah. No, those are obvious songs. I did when the DJ was talking to us, and he said, "Are there any no-go songs?" And I listed all of the group dance songs, and I said, "If I never hear them again in my life, I'll be happy." I really can't be more clear about this. I should have been more clear about the shoe game than I was, but at least I was very clear. I was like, if I never hear these songs again.
Did the shoe game come up in the meeting?
Probably. Yeah, because we went through all the like games and stuff of like, hey, we're gonna do like warm-up games to get it. And what I told him, and I think this went over pretty well. I mean, as far as like this was executed, was I was like, I want to as quickly as possible get to the dancing, and I don't care about any of the other parts. Like I care about the getting married part.
Yeah.
And I would like to eat. I do not care about any of the other things. And I mean, the first dance is nice and stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, what? Okay, that sounds crazy. What I'm trying to say is, I've been to weddings where there's like a 45-minute break between all of like, here's the first dance, here's the groom and mother dance.
Did your wedding had a cocktail hour, right? Of course it did, because we had to it's funny because I didn't know there was a cocktail hour, because for the first time, like in a long time, I was a part of the reason why there's a cocktail hour.
Because you had to go take pictures.
Had to go take pictures. We drove all the way to the bridge to take pictures.
I know we did. Yeah, and so we wanted to streamline the process because, again, I've been to well, there was one in particular. I used to work at this place, and our boss was getting married, and we were going to her wedding, and it was like the whole crew or the whole staff or whatever. And the girl that drove me was one of my coworkers, and we'd been there for like 2 hours, and she was just like, well, I really want to see their first dance, so can we just wait till the first dance is over? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. We were drinking beer. It didn't matter to me. But eventually it was going on, and it was going on, and it was going on. And we'd been there 3 or 4 hours, and they hadn't done their first dance yet. And like at like hour 3.5, they cut the cake, and I was just like, we've got to get like we can't be here you know what I mean? Like I didn't. I probably didn't say that, but you know what I mean. But it was like, and we just missed the first dance, and that was a very like stuck in my brain experience, because I was just like, oh man, when I get married, I want this because it was like people want to leave, but people also want to see everything. And so it's like, how fast can we do? Again, give everything its time, but like we don't need to take breaks in between. Like we can do all the dancing and then cut the cake, and then we're fine and we'll be done. And so we streamlined it and then just did dancing for hours, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I also have some other tips at the bottom of my list here. Done. No. Because this is where I think the list really shines.
Okay.
Because this is some things that I've compiled over the course of my time. There is a 100%, or like there is almost 100% chance that if you DJ, then you are emceeing the entire event. So I think that some people have. True, yeah. I think some people are confused as to that. Like they think that you're going to just be playing songs and announcing the things, but there is a very high chance that you are the person that is welcoming every single person into the reception and giving the speeches of like congratulating people and like passing the microphones off to certain people. And because of that, you are also the one that is, I've been to so many weddings that I've DJ'd that I'm in direct coordination with the wedding planner and the caterers.
Oh gosh.
Because like I am the one that is like leading all the people to do something.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's me, the caterer, and the wedding planner all like in a huddle, like doing things together.
Because you have to announce like, all right, table 6, you go, table 8, you go. Or whatever.
Yeah. And so, but like also just like making sure all the food is ready and like making like it's like and seeing if there's like whatever's happening. And like you have like a whole given schedule the whole time. And the best weddings I go to have like a minute by minute schedule. Some of them just have like we'll figure it out when we get there. It's like no, I'll figure it out when I get there.
You won't figure out anything.
So. Another big one is people will, if you have a DJ booth, people will come up to you and they will have requests.
Yes, they will be terrible.
Do your best to appease them unless they are wildly stupid.
For example?
And, the wobble.
Oh, yeah, well, of course, the wobble is a terrible song.
Yeah, or just like any... Like, I imagine there are some people that are going to weddings now that's like, play Savage by Megan Thee Stallion. And it's like, hey, there's like, grandmas here.
Yeah, it's
like,
fair.
what do you want to happen right now?
Yeah,
what do you think's going to happen if I play this?
Now, a quick aside. I've never DJed at a wedding, and I hope I never do. But because I know computers in my fraternity, when we would do like philanthropy events, we would do a fun run where it's a 5K. I don't need to explain it. Anyway, so I would be in charge of the music. They'd be like, can you DJ? Because you know how to set up the speakers and can set up the computer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm computer guy here. I get it. I can do that. Yes, no problem. So I would DJ it. And I would have fraternity brothers come up and they'd be like, yo, you should play some trap music. And I'm like, really, Trevor? At 9:00 in the morning on a Sunday in the middle of this park while these children take their first tennis lessons, I should play some trap music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, you should play some trap music. I'm like, yeah, Trevor, I'm probably not going to do that, but thanks for the suggestion. And that would go on it was miserable. That would go on all day where they're like, yo, man, we just need to get some hits in here. This music's and it's like, I'm sorry you're not smoking salvia or whatever and like grinding on girls, but we're in a park on a Sunday morning. So I'm going to play Taylor Swift and that's what we're going to do. And like Young the Giant, that's what's happening because it's a park, Trevor. I hated it. I hated doing it every year, but I was the only one that knew how to set up the speakers. So I had to do it every year.
So that actually kind of leads into the next big one, which is if you're the DJ, people will also think you designed the speakers themselves.
You personally built them with your own hands.
Yeah. And so because of that, like if anything is going on at any point in time, technical difficulty wise, it's you. Like it is like if like during the wedding, which I've had like MC like played music for weddings and stuff, if like a screen flickers or whatever, everyone's like, what's the DJ doing? Like what happened with this guy? And so it is always a good idea to just like budget for 2 things to go wrong for you to have to figure out. Because like I'm not a sound guy. Like I know a little bit about it now solely because I've done this so many times. Right. But like if the timbre is off, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know what these knobs do.
Right. The only reason I knew how the speakers worked is from gripping on sets and like, or like when we would like go to church and then they'd be like, hey, we need some volunteers to like help the band pack up. Like I literally knew how to set the speakers up because I would take speakers down. Like, it's like, oh, I understand what plugs into where because I've done the reverse of this. I don't know how it works. Like, I just know like this one plugs into this one and then it goes to that one and then it goes to the computer. Because I've done the reverse a bunch of times. Yeah. It's like I don't have any idea how any of this works.
There was one wedding I went to, and the venue was brand new. This was like the 3rd or 4th wedding that had happened there, and the sound system hadn't been finished yet. And so cool. I was playing speakers out of like an unfinished speaker system, and then we had to call the venue guy to get over there. And we had me and him, like, I'm going to do anything. Me and him went to a switchboard and we were like, he was like, so which one should we? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
And we eventually like figured it out. And like what I had to do is I just had to like turn like the bass all the way up just so it sounded like it was louder than it was. But while that was happening, I got so many people walking up to me. It's like, hey, can you turn it up a little louder? Like, we just want to dance. And I was just I know you do. And I was like, listen, you sweet angel babies. Like, I'm trying.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. One time I was working, I knew a guy who was running a conference and he's like, hey, can you run camera and record it? Like, can you just record this conference? We have a bunch of speakers. I've got 2 cameras. Can you just do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. No problem. And I needed some sound equipment as well, so I had like a Zoom recorder. Just imagine, this is for the audience, not you, Zach. Just imagine like a brick, but it's made of computers, and you basically plug your microphones into it. So instead of it going, so your output for your microphones or your output from your soundboard would go into the back of this brick, and it records it. And so I show up with the Zoom recorder and I'm just like, okay, I need to record this. And I'm talking to the people at this venue and they were like, oh, we can't record. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, what do you mean? They're like, oh, it only goes out to the speakers. And I'm sitting here like, okay, because to quickly explain, it goes from the human voice into the microphone and then through a set of wires to a board. And then that board has wires that go out to monitor speakers, and that's how it projects. So that's how it works. So I know there's a board. Like, I know there is a board because that is and they're like, no, it only goes out through the speakers. I'm like,
no board, sorry, pal.
It does. Yeah, no, that's what they said. They were like, we don't have a board. I'm like, you do. Like, you do have a board because that's how it and I'm sure they don't have someone like sitting there mixing the whole time. They just have like, this is what it sounds like. And their audio person was like out for the weekend or something, and they were just like, yeah, we can't do that. And I was like, you can though, I promise. Like, I have the cords to plug into it. Because that's the thing is like, because it's all the same cords, right? Like, if there's an XLR cable that goes out of the back of this board into the monitor, I can unplug one of those monitors, monitor being speaker.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. The name of the speaker is, the style of speaker is a monitor. I can unplug one of the XLR cables that goes to the speaker and then plug mine in. And instead of going to a speaker, it will go into my recorder. But I didn't want to be a problem because I didn't want like the venue. I didn't want to cause a problem for the venue and thus cause a problem for my friend. So I'm just like, can I go look at your sound system? And cause like, I'll just check, no big deal. Cause I knew for a fact. And then there was like a panel and it had a lock on it. And I could see through the little grates. That was the board behind. It was like standing up. It was like in a column. And I was just like, I can't. And I was like, is that? And they're like, yeah, but we don't know what key it is. We just don't do audio like that. And it's like, cool. So I had a Zoom. So Zoom recorders also have little microphones on top of them. And so I had to just like set it on a table near the stage and like turn it up loud.
Perfect. Great.
I have no idea how any of that turned out as far as audio or visuals. And I've been too afraid to ask. I haven't talked to that guy in years. That's literally how the story ends. I was just like, I hope this goes well. And he was like, thanks so much for all your help. And I'm like, okay, I hope I didn't ruin your conference. Goodbye. And then I have not talked to him since. We weren't close. We just sort of more of a friend, but a nice guy. Yeah. And I've never talked to him again because I was like, I hope I didn't ruin this for you.
Yeah. This could be one of those. This could turn into one of those podcasts where you're looking for some sort of reconciliation.
This is my heavyweights.
Yeah. No, that every once in a while I hear a podcast, and this is off topic, but every once in a while I hear a podcast where like the host will in the very last episode kind of make the story about themselves,
like heavyweights,
and it's just like, and then like I learned in the end that sometimes when you prioritize family, or even when you prioritize family, it gets in the way of your career, and that sucks. And so I gotta go, and like they're making it seem like it's like at the end of a movie when they're gonna go run to the airport and profess their love to someone, and I'm just like, everything was totally fine up until the last like couple of minutes where you were like, and maybe in the end, I was the pizzeria that went out of business. And it's like, what? No, like you were not that person.
But there's just like not a dramatic, there's not like a dramatic story to it. Like I've heard one, I can't remember what the premise was, but it was this like 5-part series where this guy was exploring something related to religion. I don't remember what I honestly don't remember what the A plot was, but this B plot resolves in the last like 10 minutes of the last episode where he's like, but because he starts the first one just being like, I'm the only Christian at this company and I go to church. So they put me on this project about church stuff. Yeah. And it wasn't like a scandal. It was just like following some church people about something. I really honestly don't remember what the story was. But anyway, at the end of the B plot in the last episode, he's like, so maybe God is dead. And it was like, oh, weird turn that like the end of the story was like, yeah, I think maybe I won't ever go to church again. And it was like, okay, I guess. I wasn't really like following your progress. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I don't remember what the main story was. That's how unimpactful it was. It was like, I don't know, something was happening and then it ended and they needed like a dramatic ending. So like, maybe I don't love God. And it was like, all right, it's about you now. All right, go fine. Yeah,
there was one. I think I may have mentioned this to you. I don't remember if I've said it on or off the pod, but it was this show, and I cannot remember what it is, and I'm not even trying to like save it or making it seem like I'm not making fun of it.
Sure,
but it was very early on. It was like they went to this guy's apartment, and they saw that he had a painting of Icarus, and he was like. And I asked him, like, what's the meaning behind this painting of Icarus? And it was like, he was like, oh, I've always thought that Icarus was a guy that got what he wanted. He was the kind of guy that went out and took it. And it was like, oh, that's not the interpretation of Icarus. It's like, it's this and this and this and this.
It's not even what happens in the story.
so he says that Icarus is the kind of guy that just gets what he wants. He takes what he wants,
Right.
And then it's like he's like, and that's me. Like I'm the guy that like that gets close to the sun because I want to feel how it is. And I'm the kind of guy that'll sacrifice anything for what I love. And it's just like that's not the interpretation of Icarus.
He doesn't get what he wants in Icarus. That's not what happens in Icarus.
Well, so that's fine, and like it could have just ended there. It's like, oh, this person views their life as a Greek epic, but they themselves don't see they're a tragic hero,
right?
And so the audience is savvy enough to get that.
Sure,
like it's like oh, okay, that's funny and deeply in a Greek tragedy way, very sad and ironic because. Like that's not the point of Icarus, and it's going to happen to you because you see yourself as someone who ultimately dies trying to get too much. And so that happens in the end where like this guy hilariously gets too close to the sun because he is trying to solve this case or something. And he was like, but the thing is, the more I spent time with him, the more I started to agree with his way of life. Maybe it is like, maybe it is, you have to make hard choices to get the right thing.
Icarus dies.
No, but the host says this and he's like, but we haven't, Icarus thing is in episode 1. We haven't talked about it in a long time in the way of this show. And he was like, in a way, he was like, he drew me into him. He had a passion. He had passion as hot as the sun.
Stupid.
And I guess I'm just Icarus with melted wings. And then it was just like, what the? And I knew it was happening because it was doing that, end of a mini series wind down.
Yeah, the serial music starts playing.
Yeah, it's the end of a series wind down where all of a sudden it's like, well, I have to make sense of this. Like I have to kind of give you a reason why you just listen to this, as if the story itself wasn't compelling enough.
Well, it's like
I didn't start listening to this really interesting thing about what the CIA might have done in the 1970s.
Can't talk about it. Can't fucking talk about it.
You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't listen to this thing about whatever this movie means or however it was made. Some second topic. I didn't listen to it for your wind down take at the end of it. Yeah. Like I get that narratively you have to do something, but it's all the theme, the one that I was just listening to, they have this really bombastic and very fun theme music.
Yeah.
And I heard as the person was talking, they were playing a piano version of the theme music. And I was like, get out of here.
Look, we are certainly in no place to talk shit on podcasts.
But one day we will be.
But someday we will be, and we're going to talk so much shit. I'm looking at you, S-Town.
Yeah. We're going to talk so much shit town.
So much shit town about shit town. But it is kind of like, especially with the real world production constraints, you see with a documentary where there are obviously budgetary and time constraints. But, some documentaries take 10 years to make because they just are figuring out the story and they're figuring out what it's really about. And it started about this thing, but then it became about this thing and yada, yada, yada. Whereas these sort of
like how Tiger King started about finding about that guy, but it ended up being that in the end, we were the Tiger King.
We found love in a hopeless place. But with these high production, high volume crime podcast or whatever, like a Reply All kind of thing or whatever, it's no, it has to go out. So, and granted, Reply All spends a lot of time. Maybe that's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? They're just fuck, I don't know. It's the end of this. We followed these Silicon Valley dudes while they built an app for 6 weeks and now it's over. So we have to come, it has to be about Sisyphus or whatever because it's over. So we just have to come up with something. You don't have 10 years. I think I've never produced a podcast like that, so I don't know. But a lot of times it sort of turns around to it's the driveway moment of you sit in your driveway and oh man, I gotta finish the end of this, so that, which of course our show doesn't have because our driveway moments were us screaming about some obscure the guy that made the Kung Fu Panda mini series for Taiwan
Mm-hmm. Which I don't know about.
I made that up, but
okay.
But that does seem like some shit that we would get way into a Wikipedia article or like scream about conspiracy. So it's not exactly the same kind of show that we would have drive. Although I don't know, maybe that's what our Irish fans are showing up for. Maybe they're like, yeah, we.
I know. Well, I'm trying to think of like, this whole podcast is about getting better, and it's like, what if we do those? What if we have? Yeah, what if we have those? That'd be like funny. Our theme music, we play like a slower version of it, and then we have a takeaway from it.
And that's when I knew that the guy who made Super Buddies, maybe we were the Super Buddies all along.
Okay.
Nah, that sucks. Not that one.
No. Maybe okay. We'll thumb some around. Okay, here we go.
Maybe we killed Kennedy all along. No, still bad.
No, that's not it. No. So in the end, it wasn't me who was jawsome. I don't think it was them who was jawsome, but rather it was the American spirit that led us all on this wild road trip to find out if we really were the Street Sharks. I don't know. We'll think of something.
At the end of the day, walking down my busy street with my headphones on as I go to my Manhattan apartment and past all the bodegas. I'm from New York. Did I mention our bodegas? I want to talk more about the bodegas that are in our neighborhood. I thought, aren't we all the ants in Sam's cupboard? Just scurrying around looking for a little bit of tortilla to bring home from the bodega. Did I mention? That's not a joke about me. That's more a joke about how everyone from New York just keeps talking about have bodegas. We're aware. We're aware of the bodega. Yeah. It's a convenience store. We all have them. It's not that big a deal. Gimlet. Fucking looking at you. So do you have anything going on in your life? I've been playing Castlevania a lot, and oh my God, I watched the Teddy Perkins episode of Atlanta.
Oh, finally.
Oh my God.
Dude, welcome to it.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's a trip, but just go to the episode called Teddy Perkins and watch it. As we've mentioned before, all of the episodes can just be basically watched in any order. Mm-hmm. Just skip. If you've never seen an episode of it, maybe watch like 2 to understand. But if you've seen a couple episodes of Atlanta, go ahead and skip to Teddy Perkins. I feel like you don't even need to watch. I mean, you kind of have to have an idea of Darius as a character, but no, you pretty much got it.
Yeah, like if you've seen, Darius is, once you see a few episodes, you kind of get his gist.
I got nothing, bud.
About that. I mean, I kind of want to talk about you playing Castlevania, on the Nintendo 64.
On the PlayStation, no. So we have a PlayStation 3 from my father-in-law. And my nerd shit podcast, Wizard and the Bruiser, not a podcast that I make, a podcast that I listen to. They did a whole episode on Castlevania, and I really like the television show Castlevania. So I was like, okay, I'm curious about this game. I like the show. And they talked it up for an hour, and I was like, all right. And so I got it off of the PlayStation Network. I bought it. You can just get old PlayStation games off of PlayStation. So we have all the Jak and Daxter games and Castlevania. So I've been playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it's very fun.
Here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
We talked about this a while ago, and I feel like we talked about this off screen, and it's just something that happened enough far back that it's probably not relevant anymore, but it's just something that I think is wild. So
is it Matt Gates' secret adopted son?
It is not Matt Gates' secret adopted son.
Save
I feel like that
Patreon,
I feel like that requires a lot of background information, and there's so many moving parts in Matt Gates' fake adopted son.
So fucking weird.
You have to know what but I feel like all you need to know about this one is movies. So
okay, classic episode.
We've talked about this, and remember when I told you that there is a director named Uwe Boll?
Oh shit. Yes, this was off mic. Uwe Boll. Oh my God.
So there is this director named Uwe Boll who is a filmmaker, and it's he is a German filmmaker that came to America. And you know how people like Wes Anderson or people like even like more in the range of pretentious filmmakers, they kind of borrow elements from French and Italian movies.
Sure.
And they kind of have this air about them that is a bit more, you can definitely tell they're European influenced. Uwe Boll is a German filmmaker that borrowed American ideas. And he came up making movies, like watching movies and making movies during the Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme era. So he is this guy that is like has like classically trained as like a German filmmaker, but is making like these like balls to the wall action movies that are absolutely bonkers, and just does not understand why America doesn't like his movies more, because it's like, I'm doing your thing. Like I'm making your movies. Like, why don't you like these? But he got a kind of a career by making like video game movies.
Kind of.
Kind of video game movies. Is kind of like so the things that are on his filmography. Let's see if I can get this going.
We are obviously both looking at it.
Yeah. So the most famous is Blood Rain.
Blood Rain 2.
Blood Rain is a video game. He also made one for Far Cry,
Postal,
as well as In the Name of the King, which I believe is a video game. It's called Dragon Slayer or something like that. So this guy made all these movies, and they are... I've seen In the Name of the King, and I've seen enough clips of Blood Rain to get kind of the gist. They're horrifying. Like they're awful.
Like they're not even good, or they're just like...
No, they're not even good. Like, but he gets these really big, like Jason Statham was in the Name of the King. Like how he's getting these like names like no one knows. But he's making these like really awful looking movies, and so basically all you need to know is that he is constantly being panned by critics. And what he does in response to this, so a lot of you may know that M. Night Shyamalan often gets panned by critics,
sure.
Especially because he had a bad go of it for the last...
Movies weren't
ever
very
since
good.
The Sixth Sense. And he had a lot of jabs in his movies. Most famously in Lady in the Water, he had a character that was a movie critic that got like horrifically eaten or like destroyed by a monster like very early on.
Sure.
And it's like, it's not even like you got to be pretty deep to give it's like, it's a cheap shot. Like, and it's like very, very flagrant to what he's doing.
Right.
Uwe Boll decided Similarly, because he was getting so panned by critics, he put out this message that he would fly any critic to him to box them, like in a professional boxing match.
In real life beat the shit out of these people.
To in real life beat them up. And so with this in mind, you'd think like a lot of people are like, ha ha ha, shut up. Like that's a silly thing. So, but there was enough movie critics. In fact, there was not one, not two, not three, but 4 critics that all took him up on this challenge, because it's like Uwe Boll's like an older guy. And so what's he going to do? Like, we're just going to go over there. We're going to embarrass him just like he embarrassed himself with these movies. And Uwe Boll met them. They like, you know, they trained for the boxing match just like you would. Sure. The critics did not probably take it as seriously as Uwe Boll did.
Wait. Hold on. Can I say that the boxing matches were called Raging Bull?
Yes, their boxing matches are called Raging Bull, in reference to Raging Bull.
The boxing movie. So they walk up, they touch gloves, and Uwe Boll beats the absolute shit out of them. Like, it's so good.
Annihilates them.
I gotta find videos of this.
And it is so wild. Because, like, I think, I don't know if these maybe were for charity or for something that kind of like pulled them in. But I think that these journalists were under the impression that this was going to be like a silly joke.
Yeah.
Like this was going to be like a friendly little like thing. And there's like videos where Uwe Boll just like is just kicking these guys' ass. Like he is like going to town on them. And it is just so funny because
he's literally beating the shit out of his critics.
It's like he's beating the shit out of his critics, which is like if you wrote that into a movie a la M. Night Shyamalan, that would be seen as like a hacky move.
Right.
Like that's like, oh, okay, like come on. Like that, but he's like in real life doing it, like beating up these people. And Uwe Boll also he is just the hold on just a moment while I look this up.
Good. I'm actually watching the fight. There's a full documentary called Raging Bull, and it's on BOLL if anyone's looking up. Yeah, that's also worth saying. His name is Uwe Boll, is UWE space BOLL. Raging Bull is on YouTube as a documentary, and I'm about to watch him beat the shit out of this guy. It's pretty wild. He also extended invitations to Quentin Tarantino and another director who I can't see their Wikipedia because I'm watching him fight. Roger Avery. So he was like, hey, Quentin Tarantino, I'll beat the shit out of you too.
Yeah.
He's beating the hell out of this guy. Oh my God. Well, the way they've cut it together is they keep showing like negative Rotten Tomato scores and like it's cross fading on really fast and then like interviews of him and then cuts back to the fight. And so like they're showing, I don't know, damn, he just knocked that dude out. I'm watching this without any audio because I'm a professional. I'm doing a podcast and not just watching a documentary. But it's showing like all of these angry headlines like flashing up on screen and then cutting back to him just fucking massacring these people. Oh my God. Like 4 people in a row and he is just down. They are just, wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Guys, watch Raging Bull or at least just record a podcast and turn all the audio off. And okay, I've totally lost my mind. Woof. I'll be watching that whole thing later. That sounds awesome.
So another thing I need to reference is that Uwe Boll also is a movie reviewer himself. And so Uwe Boll, there is this website called Letterboxed. And Letterboxd is a way for you. It's like Instagram. It sounds like I'm pitching this to you as if I'm like a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. It's like Instagram, but we're trying to disrupt the way that you think of movie reviews, and we're trying to make the world a better place.
It's like Bumble, but for movies.
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right. Why don't you just? If you have to compare it to something else, maybe. So Uwe Boll writes his own movie reviews on this like thing called Letterboxd. And Letterboxd is basically Instagram for movie reviews. You can review any movie and people can follow you. You can see what their reviews are and you can like give it 1 to 5 stars and just give a general idea of like what you thought of the movie. Uwe Boll has one of those and he gives like almost every single one of his movies that is not his 1 star. So I'm going to are
you gonna read some Uwe Boll reviews, please? I'm trying to locate them.
Okay. So his review for Thor Ragnarok is Sor Ruggerneck, or whatever the fuck it's called. Like I said in the video, is a shit suck flick. You can pass on the message, you can pass on and massage your temples instead. And he reviewed Super Mario Brothers, the famously panned 1993 movie.
Sure.
It says, fresh, clean air, water, while mammals roam free in the other dimension. What?
That was your problem with the movie?
No, it's 3 stars, which is like
that was your compliment about the movie.
And he also has a 3-star review of Song of the South. You can kind of get where that one's going.
Yeah.
And but he also, so he writes these like he also just writes like this horrid stuff about people in movies. But more importantly, he reviews his own movies.
Of course. And
one of them is called Rampage Capital Punishment. And
unrelated
this is
to the video game Rampage or the video game movie starring Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
So I cannot express to you how real this is.
Okay.
So Uwe Boll's review for Rampage Capital Punishment. The director, he is sexy. Let me count the ways. He has a chiseled physique. He is really smart and he is really cool. He is easy to talk to. He loves his fans and he loves girls. He puts lots of action explosions in his movies. And unlike Michael Flaccid Penis Bay,
very cool.
He makes movies with a message and political spectrum. Okay. What is going on?
Now, Zach, I think you know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Super Bowl and Uwe Boll experience, where we watch all the movies of Uwe Boll.
Oh,
Look,
Super Bowl,
Super Bowl and Uwe Boll experience.
Super Bowl. Oh my gosh,
I just want you to think on that.
Yeah,
I want you to
I
think
like
on
it.
Super Bowl and Uwe Boll experience.
Oh my gosh, you were so quick to come up with these titles. That's the only thing that's keeping me into these. Like, yeah, Super Bowl. That is incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, that's our show. Thank you all so much for listening to Get Better. You can find us on Instagram at Get Better Podcast. That's get_better_podcast. You can also reach us at meetthefockers2 fockedup@gmail.com. As I've said in the previous episodes, we've been getting a lot of emails that are not that one. And if you don't email us at meetthefockers2 fockedup@gmail.com, you are a coward. You can ask us about inquiries when it comes to business, as well as if you want someone to DJ your wedding or you want a PDF of my airtight wedding formula. We do not have a Patreon. And, you know, I go into this every week, but if we did, it would go to one of the other mini causes that is going on right now. Please do your own research when it comes to your own city or your own issues that you care about. And I guess that's all we have. So see you guys next week. I left the studio after a recording session. I walked down the street onto 5th Avenue where there's a bodega that I like. I walk in, there's a cat named Mo, which I think is funny to have a cat with a human name and even the name from the tavern owner in The Simpsons. I tell this to the owner, Poppy. I don't know his name, and he doesn't get that. He never saw The Simpsons. I order my favorite sandwich, a pastrami on rye, and I take a brisk, cold walk back to my apartment. It's a few blocks away. I see people riding on their bikes. I see people walking, and I walk up every single stair to my 3rd floor, walk up, just thinking the whole time, what's it all mean? Who have I been in this whole process? Who have I become? I go up to my couch and I sit, and before I turn on the TV, I just want to look out onto the streets. Well, actually the alleyway that is between 2 buildings. And I think to myself, we're not so different, him and I. Maybe I am just like Uwe. Maybe I'm my own worst critic. And maybe I've been boxing myself this whole time.
All right.
All right.
See you bye forever.
See you bye forever.